French is a compact state, and the advantages of a compact shape is conducive to trade exchange and tourism between the national center and neighboring countries. The capital of France is Paris, and it is the largest city in France, which is located in the north-central part of France. Its made province around Paris easy to exchange political, economic information with the capital. These unique advantages allow France to develop rapidly, but the advantages of such a compact country can also be turned into disadvantages. France's May 68 perfectly gave a negative example. May 68 was a mass movement in France from May to June 1968. A series of social problems caused by slow economic growth of European countries caused students and workers to strike. On March 22, 1968, a student gathering at the Natry College in Paris protested against the government. Since then, student protests have gradually increased. The anger shrouded the whole of France. France trade union began to let workers join in helping students. First of all, 800,000 workers in Paris had to general strike, and the wave of strike swept through France. Millions of strike workers have occupied more than 300 important factories and mines, caused disruptions of railways, air, and sea traffic throughout the country. Production and communication have all stalled, and the economic life in France is in chaos. It is precise because France is a compact state, so France's industrial economics connections are tight, and information dissemination is faster, allowing students and workers to disseminate information and strike in short period of time, therefore causing the French economic to fall immediately. There are numbers of factors that are perceived as being centripetal forces in such as France. This includes the long-established fame for France when it comes to superior wine, fashion, food, and art, the iconography and political pageantry, such as the national flag, national anthem, and the Pledge of Allegiance in France serves to enhance the nation's unity and bring the different people of France together. Moreover, French nationals have a shared history of struggle and conquest. Centrifugal forces in France are also perceived and being very closely related to the phenomenon of devolution, which is perceived as the fragmentation of states. In addition to weakening the state, centrifugal forces serve to cause state deterioration and lead to an interruption of state interorder. One of the major centrifugal forces in France and the main reason for the upheavals and unrest witnessed in France in the last few years is the prevalence of political and economic inequality. The hierarchy of the financial system in France has led to a stratification of the French society into upper, middle, and lower classes. Corrupted states. Countries of this type, although compact, have raised parts at one end of the country or are far from the center of the country. This tends to separate the area of the raised part from most of the country's land areas. Take Thailand as an example. Because of the territory of Myanmar is very close to the Gulf of Thailand, making the lower half of Thailand almost separate from the main areas of Thailand. This makes it more difficult for Thailand's prominent areas to communicate with major territories, and it's more difficult to control and manage. The separatist violent terrorist movement that frequently erupted in southern Thailand not only seriously threatened the stability and development of neighboring regions, but also had negative impacts on the entire country. First, the violent terrorist incidents of separatists in southern Thailand caused a large number of casualties and worsened local society security, and caused social unrest. Separatist forces in southern Thailand collude with the religious extremist forces and the terrorist forces to promote terrorist activities. The three forces interacted with each other and planned a series of terrorist attacks. The target of the attack began to expand to streets, hotels, and so on, without taking into account the loss of the lives and properties of innocent civilians, and a use of the killing monks to provoke conflicts between Buddhists and Muslims. And the behavior became more and more fierce. In order to solve the southern problems, the Thai government has increased investment, actively promoted the development of the southern economy, and improved the living conditions of the southern residents to provide employment opportunities, strengthen infrastructure construction, develop agriculture and border trade, improve transportation conditions, improve the level of education and human resource development, and maintain the environment and natural resources. Despite the government's series of measures, the violence continues. At the beginning of the attack, only military police and officials, but later gradually smashed civilians regardless of age and gender. Muslims or Buddhists may become victims at any time. Thailand is one of the world's most famous Buddhist countries. Most these beliefs in Buddhism, and Buddhists account for more than 95% of the country's population. Southern Thailand is dominated by the Muslims who believe in Islam and believers in Christianity and Hinduism. This is the centrifugal forces of Thailand. Thailand's tourism industry is the centripetal forces of Thailand. Thailand's tourism industry is developed and has become Thailand's main source of economic income. Visitors can enjoy different forms of tourism in different areas of the country. Thailand has the modern city of Bangkok. The south face is Gulf of Siam and the Indian Ocean. There are many natural beach resorts developed, and the northern mountains have a pleasant climate and are also suitable for travel. The fragmented state is characterized by the fact that the national territory consists of two or more separate parts that are separated by land or by international waters, and the functions of the links between the parts are by water or aviation. The Philippines is such a country due to the inconvenience caused by large distance such as transportation links and government control. In the Philippines, the government has many inconveniences against the riots in the southwest. In the late 1980s, the Reagan administration of the United States took the stage to launch Reaganism and ruined many so-called authoritarian regimes, including the Marcos regimes, in the Philippines. However, the political and economic culture of the Philippines is not the same as that of the Western Christian civilization. As a result, the political power is divided, the government is weak, the local armed forces are everywhere, and the ethnic and religious contradictions are serious. The downturn in the economic base in the past 30 years has caused political turmoil and competition. Therefore, local factions often fight for life and death, and have become a feud. The religious separatist forces in the south are taking advantage of this also. The implementation of the presidential system is the centripetal forces of the Philippines. The president is the head of state, the head of government, and the commander-in-chief of the armed force. The Philippine president advocates cracking down on crime, drugs, and corruption, vigorously carrying out the fight against terrorism, and reshapes the people's trust and confidence in the government. Apart from the existence of terrorism and separatist activities in the South region, the Philippine political office is generally stable. Many political parties are the centrifugal forces of the Philippines. Christian Democratic Forces Party, Liberal Party, Nationalist People's Union, Philippine Communist Party. There are more than 100 large and small political parties in the Philippines, most of which are local small parties. The struggle for power between political parties is fierce and tends to diversify the country. Perforated state means that the territory of one country completely surrounds the territory of another country. Italy is such a country, and its territory completely surrounds the Vatican and San Marino. The perforation type country is characterized by the fact that the surrounding countries are often closely linked to the countries they are surrounded. Whether it's tourism or trade routes, it is necessary to enter the encircled country after encircling the country. At the same time, the two sides will influence the concept of cultural politics. During the Franco-Prussian War of 1870, the Kingdom of Italy was transferred to the French army in Rome by Napoleon III. The troops attacked the Papal States, attached the Franks, and occupied the city of Rome. At that time, Pope Pius III was trapped in the Vatican. The Papal State, in the same sense of extinction, in the face of this situation, the successive popes were reluctant to give in and narrowed their activities to the Vatican Palace, known as the prison of the Vatican. The confrontation between the Holy See and Italy has lasted for 49 years. Finally, the political treaty of the sovereignty of the Holy See in Vatican City is recognized, thereby establishing a sovereign and independent state. The Italian government abolished the status of Catholicism as a state religion in 1978. In 1984, it reached an agreement with the Vatican Holy See to amend the agreement. So far, this treaty has remained largely valid. On January 1, 2009, the Vatican declared that Italian law is too complicated and lacks stability, often contrary to Catholic doctrine, and officially announced that it will no longer automatically adopt the law passed by the Italian parliament. Italians basically speak Italian, and 90% of Italians believe in Catholicism. These are centripetal forces of Italy. Italy is gradually merged and evolved from ancient Greek civilization and ancient Rome civilization. These two ancient civilizations have different cultural stories and histories. So, this is the centrifugal force of Italy. Due to the large difference between regions, elongated state has caused certain difficulties in the connections between the regions and the government management, which easily leads to the localism, because for the upper and lower vertices, they are not only far from the center of the country, but also the distance between each other is the maximum distance across the country. Therefore, the elongated states, their culture, trade, and tourism are often more difficult and inconvenient, requiring higher costs and longer time. Norway is an elongated state. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea authorized coastal states to set up exclusive economic zones within 200 nautical miles of their territory's water, and enjoys the sovereign power to explore, develop, and utilize various resources in the region. Norway is one of the many countries in the convention. The Svalbard Treaty established Norway's complete and absolute sovereignty over Svalbard. The conflict between the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the relevant provisions of the Svalbard Treaty sparked controversy over the jurisdiction of the water surrounding the Svalbard and the right to ownership of the economy. The focus of the dispute is whether Norway is against Svalbard. The maritime area from 12 nautical miles to 200 nautical miles has sovereignty. This leads to the loss of Norwegian interests. Language unification is the centrifugal force of Norway. The official Norwegian language is Norwegian and includes two writing modes, Standard Norwegian and New Norwegian. Both writing modes are used in official documents, schools, and public places. But in contrast, Standard Norwegian is used in a large number of people, accounting for 85 to 90% of the population. Physical shape is the centrifugal forces in Norway. Physical geography or shape of the country makes everything far away and hard to get access to.